Ladies and gentlemen, we have a Christmas Bible study special from Michael Fazio from the Philippines, baby. And one of the things we're going to talk about today is some questions I have for the Vatican and about Pope Ratzenberger and Pope Francis. So these are legitimate questions. Now, I'm going to say this in a monotonal voice so that no one thinks that there's any angst or animosity towards the church, because far be it from me to say anything negative about the Illuminati Vatican or the Illuminati that controls the Vatican or the monetary control system that the Vatican worships and invests money via its principalities through the Rothschild Bank into the American war machine and, of course, the war machine on a global level. So one of the questions that I have for the Vatican is, I live in a poor country, the Philippines. I live in, good morning, Sasha, and good morning, Samuel, and I'm not going to address the comments, so Vatican, thank you. So I have a question for the Vatican. I direct this question directly to the Pope. I live in a poor country. People are so poor that yesterday when I was going out giving very small, insignificant Christmas gifts to about 85, well, actually, it's about 90 children, okay? Their parents, the children didn't have any toys except for the toys that I gave them, and 3 or 4 children had a small piece of plastic like a toy soldier, and one boy had a toy gun in his pocket. So I'm looking at 85 children who have no toys, and the insignificant little toys that Daisy and I handed out yesterday was the hit of the season. Okay, instead of, I could have given them all one meal by spending all day cooking, it would have been gone. So what we decided to do was give each child a ball with a light in it, and when you bounce the ball, well, this one's been on for 2 days. I don't know. When you bounce the ball, the lights glow inside the ball. Honey, she's outside. So, but other than the balls, it would be a legitimate statement. But I gave via a man named Jeff Stieglitz and Pamela Kerr and one other person. They donated the money for the balls themselves, and then I collected the balls from the store and several other toys. And that I had a raffle for these other toys. They were insignificant as well as far as cost, but they were more than what the children had. So we're going to digress back to the Vatican. Why do all of these people in the Philippines go to church? I just saw a whole wave, an entire family, half a community this morning on their way to the church in their best clothes to give money to the church. When they don't have money for choice for their children, why is the church collecting money on Christmas? Why isn't the church have $1,000,000 a year? Because easy, they collect that much. Why don't they give back something to the children in the Philippines? This is one of the poorest countries. Right now, there'd be 7, 8, 10 beggars in every little section of the church, in the front of the church. Second question I have for the Vatican is why, if the Vatican believes in really that stupid, they are a control mechanism. But why, if the Catholic Church believes in not to kill your neighbor, not to harm your neighbor, not to lie, why does the Catholic Church lie to its people? And I can prove that very, very easily. I can prove that. Why does the Catholic Church not tell the people exactly how many pesos it collected from each church? And that there's no reason to give. The church has been paid for 1,000 times. Any church in the Philippines has probably been paid for several hundred times. Right now, they're renovating a church in Tagbilaran City. They're spending hundreds of millions of pesos. Okay, they're building a spire like they have in front of the Vatican. Square Mile, London, the Bank of London, the London banking industry, and one in Washington D.C. and one in the square, the Vatican Square. Why are they spending 30 or 40 million pesos building all of this garbage when they could be giving it back to the community? And they don't. You know, there are beggars in front of the church in Tagbilaran, and also all they do is collect money. Why are they not giving something back to the community? That's a legitimate question. But more importantly, well, why that's collected to go to the Vatican, aside from the wealth they stole during World War II, the gems, the art, the gold, the silver, the antiques, the things that are thousands of years old, the antiques that were in museums. Why of their cash investment? Every week they get a cash surplus. There's no church. Have you ever seen a Catholic church go out of business? Well, I have in Brooklyn when the neighborhood changed to an Indian or Muslim community. The church typically turns over into a mosque or a temple or something like that. But it's so, and what they do with it is they invest it through the Rothschild banking industry into stocks and bonds in war equipment to build war machines to kill people. How is this reasonable? This is the truth. If you were to somehow be able, because there are theories and there are facts, if you were somehow to be able to take the amount of monies that the Catholic Church collected and then see where it went. So exactly, but it goes into a dummy corporation that goes into a dummy corporation that goes into a dummy corporation, which the Rothschilds and or the Jewish cartel or cabal control the money of the Vatican, and the Rothschilds control the United States Treasury via dummy corporations or fake names or fictitious characters. It's all under the control of the Jewish cabal, the number twos, as I like to call them, the number twos, and they invest most of their money. Like, for instance, the largest investor into Dick Cheney's scam, when Bush was president, Dick Cheney started a corporation to build machines that give you x-rays at the airport. Well, the largest investors, Jewish cabal or the number twos, via the Rothschild Bank, and they invested hundreds of millions of dollars into building the machines, and they weren't even selling a few machines. They were just warehousing these machines because the Vatican, via the Rothschilds, invested into these companies. And then when there was a war, when Bush declared war on Iraq or Iran or Somalia, wherever they declare war, now we have this 9/11 catastrophe that occurs, and all of these machines are necessary. And why would somebody invest hundreds of millions of dollars into building the machines when there was no venue to sell them? That's because they had inside information. And most of the investors were the same people that were investing in other war equipment building machines like Raytheon and McDonnell Douglas, whoever makes stuff that kills people, war machines, bombs, bullets, the paint to put on the tanks, the tires to put on the trucks, the rims, and whoever builds this stuff is making money. And that's where these people invest their money, including the Vatican. So basically, the Vatican is perpetuating war through its investments. Why is this a reasonable thing to do? Why do these people exist in real life? And then they have these priests who, by the way, the Vatican, another false belief that the Vatican is this wonderful corporation, because it's a corporation, and that corporation controls America. That I proved 1,000 times over. The Vatican controls America, and then the people that control the monetary aspect of the Vatican control the Vatican. Now, you could say it's the Illuminati. You could say it's the Masonic influence. You could say it's the Rosy Cross. You could say it's the Jesuits. You could say it's the Rothschilds. You could say it's anybody you want, and probably all of them and a whole lot more, and names that you will never hear ever whispered. Okay? Because everything is done under low breath. Now, if you heard what I just said, then you understand what I just said. Everything is done ULB, under low breath. And why? Because it's a scam. Now, the whole banking industry is a scam, and so is the Vatican. And the people that actually control the Vatican, we're never going to find out who they are. But you can rest assured anybody that associates themselves with the Vatican is part of what Trump calls the swamp. But then again, Trump is associating himself with the Vatican. So that means that Trump is part of the swamp. You can't, you just can't have it both ways. Now, if the Vatican took the words of the Bible seriously, if they took it seriously, where, you either choose God or you choose Satan, well, then the Vatican wouldn't invest in war machines. Trump wouldn't have anything to do with the Vatican if they did invest in war machines. Therefore, you would have no influence by church to the state. But I am telling you, I have as much money as anybody who will ever watch this video. I can back this up. The Vatican always will. There are thousands of people that express it in different ways, but you don't have to watch or listen to any of those people. All you have to do is take a dollar bill out of your pocket and look at the back of the dollar bill, and what you're going to see is the entire, what looks to be green, but it's not really green, by the way. What looks to be green, you're going to see the left seal, the obverse and the reverse of the, okay. And then in God we trust is the mercy seat of what is known as the Ark of the Covenant. Now you can look up via a video Ark of the Covenant on a dollar bill. I am the only person in the history of the world to ever state that publicly, announce it, and write a book about it, aka Angels on the Ark, nonfiction by Michael Fazio. I proved to this day, I believe the Ark of the Covenant represents the Catholic Church because God gave the measurements to build the Ark of the Covenant, and it's stated in the book of Exodus. However, at the time, they were Jews. So, but now in today's world, the Ark of the Covenant is a religious icon that I always depicted as after I wrote my book, and expressed the opinion that the Ark of the Covenant was originally given to the Jews. So basically, the Jews control America. It doesn't matter how you flip-flop it. The Vatican monetary system controlled by the number twos, or the Vatican controls America via Christian ideology, which, by the way, they're taken out of the public venue because it's all disappearing. All the Christian venues, the Ten Commandments in public buildings, it's all disappearing because they're transferring who controls the religions of the world. When the Pope tried to make a pact or did make a pact with Hindus and Buddhists and Muslims, well, that always went against the Catholic faith. It's only Jesus. It can't be anybody else according to the Catholic faith. So then that what the Pope is doing and what the bishops and the cardinals are doing, they're being hypocritical to try to encompass other religions. Now, me personally, I could care less what they do. I happen to think the moral turpitudes of some religions are good, but the basis behind the morals is just to collect your money. It's you give me money, and we can go into the story where if you give me money, I can exonerate you from your sins. What a load of crap! What a load of crap! How the Catholic priests are not intermediaries between man and God. You just believe that to be so. You can sit down in any religion, in any language, in any God you choose, and ask for forgiveness for your sins. You don't need some priest who, by the way, the Catholic Church has paid $5 billion since 1955 in hush money for children that were molested by priests, cardinals, and bishops, and maybe even the Pope. Because let's just face it, none of them are above reproach. None of them. Pope I'll start from the Pope down, and I won't even work my way down to the cardinals and bishops that are now being excommunicated from the church or moved to Guatemala, where no one will ever see them again, and they can continue their acts of child molestation and pedophilia. But let's just go with the Pope Ratzenberger. Okay, you could look this up. If you Google right now, Google Pope Ratzenberger is gay, you're going to come to hundreds of articles. And Pope Ratzenberger, since he was a little boy, always denounced bisexuality or gay. Always. But now, Pope Ratzenberger was the first pope to retire in, I don't know, 600 years, whatever it is. And then he's living with his gay lover in a house in Rome on the Vatican property. So to talk about hypocrites, the man denounced and demeaned gay people for his entire career as a priest, as a cardinal, as a bishop, however they worked their way up the ladder. And then he quits being a pope so he could live with his gay lover who was supposed to be his butler. But it's been his butler, I think it was 16 years the last time I looked. So the man is a straight up and down gay, closet case, the Pope Ratzenberger, and yet this is the type of stuff that goes on in the church. Now you have the Pope's decree, or was it the Pope's decree? I have to look at this article that I have above you. Hold on a minute. I have several articles above. Let's see. It's 25 years for child porn. Okay, that's one. Father Foucher. Now, I could put that down. I'll put that down when I'm done with my little dissertation. Okay. When are we going to talk about the Great Pyramid? Before I finish and before I read the comments. Can't read the comments. I tried to do that yesterday. Tried to read the comments and get on with my dissertation. It doesn't work. So everybody's just going to have to wait. So now we have this guy called Father Foucher, Faucher, is sentenced to 25 years for having thousands upon thousands of child pornography and all kinds of sick sex acts, and then distributing them for either money or sexual favors from other men. And he was involved with child pedophilia with boys. I'm not sure if it was girls also. The Philippines. Now, the war on drugs, but let me just tell you one simple fact. The drugs that came into America in the 70s, the 80s, and the early 90s. They were all brought in by one specific group or grouping of people, and all those people were controlled by the United States government. Nobody that sold large mass amounts of drugs in the 70s, 80s, or 90s wasn't supplied somehow through the supply chain by the American government. And again, maybe it was 10% or 20%. And then when they go to trial, and $1.5 million in cash, $1.1 million actually it was, not me, somebody else I knew. And they said, look, we're going to keep the powder, the blow, the product. We're going to keep the coke. We're going to keep 21.5 keys. We're going to charge you with just under half a key, so that the sentence doesn't go to a mandatory 10 years. And then we're going to knock the money down to where you had $100,000, but we're going to keep the $1 million. So they're going to keep $1 million and 21.5 kilos of cocaine. This is the government. This is the DEA making this deal with the guy. So they said you can either sign this paper and we'll change the charge. This was before he was charged, physically charged. We're gonna reduce it to under a half a key and under $100,000. And he said, okay, signed the paper. He did 1 year and 1 day, just long enough to take his driver's license and his voting ability away from him. They kept 21.5 keys, and they kept $1 million in cash, and they resold it. And then they give him another deal. We'll let you walk right now today if you give us a few of the bigger deals, which he wouldn't do, because he knew it would probably not be a good thing. So the government is the people that brings the drugs into the country, the big drugs. Okay, now there are other people also. That's why they want to stop the drugs at the Mexican border, because it's cutting in on their black market money. Money's going back to Mexico, not into some black ops operation. But let's just say that the war on drugs is total horseshit in America. It always has been total horseshit. And some of these guys that I knew that I could never mention their names. I'd be dead 72 hours from now. They know who I am. They watch my videos. They know I'm telling you the truth. A lot of people know I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you they have far-reaching tentacles. I mention a guy's name, 72 hours from now I'd be dead. Take my word for that. Take it to Duterte. President Duterte declared a war on drugs just like America declared a war on drugs. We were all for the war on drugs in America. Now, President Duterte took a different stance. He said, you can turn yourselves in, you can turn your drugs in, you can stop being a drug dealer, and we'll put you in a halfway house, to be a real rehabilitated. Or if we catch you, we're going to kill you if you don't stop. So when President Duterte did that, everybody's against it. So now, and who's against it the most? Well, the Catholic Church and the bishops. So President Duterte has an article, and I'll put this article up. It's called Philippines, Duterte, Kill Those Useless Bishops. News, Al Jazeera. But President Duterte is quoted word for word. I'll say it again. Philippines, Duterte, semicolon, kill those useless bishops. Why? Because the bishops are against Duterte stopping the drugs that are destroying the Philippines. See, so when the Catholic Church, now why? Because the drugs that are being sold, some of that money is going to the church to keep everybody in all the communities quiet. Maybe, I don't know. I have nothing to do with that. But for some reason, the church is against killing. The recidivism is like 100%. I've seen people get arrested and go right back at it. Okay? This is crazy what's going on here in the Philippines. Now, I don't have anything to do with that, but you see these people that get arrested and that you see them back, then, the sentence was reduced. Or if you give the judge, if you get a good lawyer, they can change the amount of shit that you get busted with. It's fucking crazy here. So Duterte wants this shit to stop, and the Catholic Church doesn't want them harming anybody, even though Duterte gave them the option to stop and told them what was going to happen. Why? Because the Catholic Church gets an end to this. Okay, they have to be getting an end to this. It has to be that way. So let's go back to the Catholic Church and more lies and deception. Now, this is the biggest deception, the biggest lie that the Catholic Church has ever transposed onto humanity. Now, I have to put my Christmas tree down, and then later I'm going to show you that I bought for Daisy. So now I'm gonna go to well, I don't have to go to. I have a video that I posted. Okay, I'll talk about something called the Great Pyramid. Now, why is it on the dollar bill? Well, the Great Pyramid is on the dollar bill for a very specific reason. It's the most well-known icon or logos in the world. So here it is on the dollar bill. There's the skull and bones with teeth right there on the dollar bill. That's a hog-nosed bat. It's the skull and bones is the nose of a hog-nosed bat. Around the nose is the face with the eyes and the ears. And then you have the wings over the obverse and reverse of the dollar bill. When I rotate this, just like this, no trickery, take one out of your pocket, do it yourself. When I rotate this, there's the owl on the dollar bill. The owl represents the Bohemian Grove Society. There's eyes, there's a snout, there's fluffy feathers that surround the beak of the owl, and of course the wings that drape themselves over the obverse and reverse of the dollar bill. And here you have the skull and bones, which represents Yale Skull and Bones Society in pictographic format. Go watch my channel video. I described this. I spent 4 minutes describing this little picture, proving that this is an icon that represents the Yale Skull and Bones Society. Okay. Nobody in the world. I have a 10,000, I have a 20,000, I have a 50,000, at a challenge of 10, 20, 30, $50,000 to anyone in the world to take a dollar bill out of their pocket and not see this. It's not possible. I've been doing this for 8 years. No one has ever taken my challenge. I've even had people say, up the ante, I'll back you for any amount of money. But no one's going to take the challenge. They're either going to buy my book, Angels on the Ark, or they're going to take a dollar bill out of their pocket and they're going to see they can't deny what I just said. And then if they wanted to prove that it's not the Yale Skull and Bones, they'd have to buy my book. If they wanted to prove it's not the Ark of the Covenant, they'd have to buy my book and tear my book. So what I'm telling you is the truth. So now what I started digressing back to the Great Pyramid. Look, you want to see one of the biggest lies perpetrated in all of history to all of mankind. This Great Pyramid was not built in 1700s or the 1800s. That's a load of crap, that fucking story, okay? It's a load of crap. The Great Pyramid has weathering that dates Sphinx, which is in front of the Great Pyramid, dates back 29,000 years. So here we have the two oldest structures in the world, easily visible in a desert outside Jerusalem, Egypt, the Middle East. Let's just say anybody in the Middle East in a few hours can see the Great Pyramid. So let's talk about how the cover-up of the Great Pyramid and how the Bible can't possibly be the Word of God if God represents truth, justice, and the American way. You have a building, a construction project called the Great Pyramid. It's the greatest construction project known to man in recorded history. There's been many, many more pyramids, probably 100,000, 200,000 years ago. This is from a remnant society dating back 50,000 years, and they left a tribute to the Great Pyramid from 90 miles away. So that's how flat the Earth is now, which has nothing to do with the flat Earth theory. But you can see this Great Pyramid from 90 miles away. Maybe you have to be on a small mountain. I'm not sure. I read you can see it from 90 miles a day. On a clear day, you could see it for almost 100 plus miles, maybe 150 miles with binoculars, which means that the curvature of the Earth there is basically zero. Because at 150 miles or 100 miles, the curvature of the Earth would be several miles down curved, like down there. So if you were here and 100 miles away would be down here somewhere, the curvature of the Earth would drop you down 1 or 2 miles, and nothing in the desert is 1 or 2 miles high. So the Earth is flat. Let's just get that right through your head. Okay, the Dutch bags that say the Earth isn't flat, do some research. The Earth is flat. Yeah, just start off with this. Water, still water, S-T-I-L-L, still water seeks its own level. Now let's go back to Bible thumping with the Fathers, because that's in the name of the title. I read almost every Bible there was to read, and that nowhere in any Bible does it ever talk about the Great Pyramid. It doesn't say the word pyramid. It doesn't have the word pyramid. A few Bibles have the word pyramid in the Bible, but they're talking about very small structures, 10 or 12 feet high, that were built in a pyramidical shape. So they knew the word pyramid, but nowhere in the Bible, when people traveled from the east to the west in the Far East, nowhere in the Bible does it ever mention the pyramid. It mentions the slaves in Egypt, but it doesn't mention the pyramid. There's one mention that I found, and I wrote about in my book. It's called the Great White Stone in the Desert. And that's the only reference that fits the proper dimensions of the pyramid. In other words, certain things would have to be incorporated into the concept of the Great White Stone in the desert. Well, that passage of the Bible describes the Great Pyramid in detail. Okay, what it looks like, where it is, how it's situated in the desert, the direction, all. That's the only one reference, but it doesn't mention the word pyramid. It mentions the Great White Stone in the desert. So here you have these people that run the Vatican, and they're not really people, they're really creatures. Okay, they may be human, they may not be human in nature. They may have a human appearance, but they are satanic or evil entities, evil energy level entities. They're just satanic in nature, these people that exist in their own natural habitat and form. So let's say it's not like a David Icke type of thing. It's not a David Icke lizard from all over the world. Comes from Egypt and the Vatican and the buildings in the government in old New York City and old Chicago. All of these buildings have lizard-like people. So the lizard concept is very accurate to the degree that why would higher civilizations that had the ability to build the Great Pyramid, why would they put people with lizard tails and lizard bodies? Why? Because they had inside information. So now that let's digress back to the big lie from the BC. So that's 6,600 years ago, thereabouts. Just take it plus or minus a few hundred years. It doesn't matter. But they did this through the genealogy, going back through the names in the Bible and how many hundreds of years they lived, which is total bullshit. But let's just say they make up this story to get us back to 4,600 years old. Well, which now that means that a civilization that was put on earth by God, all in a matter of hours or minutes or seconds, in its cradle of the cradle of its history, the beginning of its history, 4,000 years ago, built all the pyramids in Egypt somehow with no knowledge of construction. Of course, God gave them the construction, but that's not in the Bible. The popes and the bishops are not preaching that God gave them the instruction. They're not preaching that the pyramids exist at all. Why? Because they can't explain it. So they have to say the earth is 4,600 BC. That's the beginning. And they can't mention the Great Pyramid, which is an in-your-face, screw you church, Catholic Church. Because the Great Pyramid is there, and so is the Sphinx. And carbon dating, or rather, the records that show that there was water erosion on the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx show the Sphinx at 29,000 years old and the Great Pyramid at about 11.5 or 12,000 years old. It's proven. This isn't science fiction. This is real. This is fiction. The pyramid is 12,000 years old. Now the church won't admit that it's any years old. Well, then where did it come from? What was it, just placed there? And according to the church, the Great Pyramid may have just very well been put there by God in a matter of seconds to try to draw you away from the will of God, according to in itself says, no, there was nobody built the Great Pyramid. God just put it there, and he put it there to tempt you away from Jesus Christ. Okay, so Jesus Christ had a certain teaching. The church props that up where necessary, but then when it comes to not to kill or not to harm other people, the church invests in war machines and money and war bonds and killing things that kill people. The church has the biggest investment in the world in killing people, and through stocks and bonds and dummy corporations. But now let's go back to the pyramid. The pyramid's there, and the church says that the pyramid can't have been there for 12,000 years because the earth is only 6,000 years old. So this is God's way of tempting you to believe that the Bible, which is what I call Bible Bibble. Okay, I've done a whole series of Bible Bibble and Bible Thumping with the Fathers. Look up Bible Thumping with the Fathers. Bible Thumping with the. I have a whole series of this from back in 2010, 2011. The Bible is a bunch of words put together by man, edited by Francis Bacon between the year 1604, the King James Bible, between the year 1604 and 1611. Sir Francis Bacon rewrote the Bible and edited it so that it would follow the laws and proverbs and principles of Masonry. Believe what you will. Look up Sir Francis Bacon. Look up Sir Francis Bacon edits the Bible for King James between 1604 1611. There's 1,000 articles on that. The Bible wasn't written by God, so let's move past that nonsense, that story, the Bible story. So now the church says you have to believe. So if you believe that the pyramid is 12,000 years old, hell. But no matter what you do with the church, there's always a get married, and you decide that. I knew my friend got married, and he went on his honeymoon. He knocked his girlfriend out. Joe knocked Rosemary right out, right in a movie theater in Miami. Now, I didn't see it, but he was on his honeymoon. And he knocked her out. I don't know why he knocked her out. Rosemary could be annoying, got to tell you that. But he shouldn't have knocked her out on his honeymoon or any other time. So they got an annulment. They got so that was like 30,000. So they paid for the church. They had the wedding, nice wedding. Joe had a nice wedding. Joey San Felipe out. That was his name, Joey San Felipe out, because he was always tripping and flipping out. But anyway, 30 grand for the annulment. Now, let's say Joey San Felipe out had been married for 2 or 3 years. In the eyes of God, now they are, this is a man and wife, holy matrimony. And let's say they have a child. But Joey wants to get married in the church again because he's a very religious person. Just because he knocked out Rosemary on their honeymoon doesn't mean he didn't believe in God. His whole family went to church on Sunday. So, well, I don't think Mr. San Felipe out went to church, but many of the years that I knew the family, Mr. San Felipe out was in jail because he was running loan sharking and running illegal card games. So Mr. San Felipe might not have went to church every week, but his wife went, and the other children, very good children. They're all church going. Any one of them will fuck you 6 different ways from Sunday if you're doing business with them, but they're good people. They go to church in God's eyes. So let's say that Joey had been married to Rosemary for, let's say 20 months or 25 months. Okay. Well, the church, now it's not 30,000 for the annulment. Now it's 100,000 for the annulment, because God has to recognize that there's been sin. You've been living in sin, and God has to forgive 20 months of sin. So you can buy your way into heaven. You don't make any mistake about it. So now, if you believe that the pyramid was built by Egyptians before the time of the world, then you can go to hell for that. But you can always pay your way out of hell for anything. I just gave you the one example. That's a true story, by the way. They were on their honeymoon for 2 or 3 days. They went to a movie in Miami, and Joey knocked out Rosemary cold in the movie theater and left her there. Went back to the hotel, cleaned up his shit, and went back to New York. Left her to be picked up by an ambulance and go to the hospital. And when she got back to the hotel room, Joey was gone, so that he couldn't get arrested. Okay, so that's an absolute 100% true story. Now, could I prove it? Of course I could prove it. But Rosemary just died last year, and Joey is dying, so it would be difficult to prove it. But I hope Joey sees this video, because Joey, gotta hand it to you, buddy. You got away with that one. You fucked everybody you ever met in your entire life, Joe. I'm surprised somebody didn't hit you with a piece of fucking wood. So, Joey, so now that you believe in the Great Pyramid, so now you go, and now the priest is going to tell you that, honey, give me cold water, please.
Yes, sir.
Salamat. Now the priest is going to tell you that you're an apostate to the church. I think that's the right word. But either way, you're going against the word of God, because the Bible is the word of God, even though I just proved to you that Sir Francis Bacon edited the Bible. So the Bible, thank you. You didn't get this yet, did you? I told Daisy I'm going to give her one of these, and what did you say you were going to do? What did you say you were going to do if I give you one of these? Pack. If I give her one of these for Christmas, she's going to pack. That's what she told me. Yeah?
Yeah.
Packing?
Yeah, packing.
You get ready. You better start packing, because you're getting one of these. Yeah. Want to say hello to everybody?
Hello, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, salamat.
Ha, ha, ha.
Daisy and I started up. The batteries died in the machine. I called up the owner and told him the batteries were dead. He said, just put them on charge. He's not going to buy new batteries. In other words, if I want to use the machine, I could buy new batteries. So I put it on charge for a month, and today went out there and started it up. Daisy and I oiled some locks, and we did some other stuff in the shop. Who else lets their girlfriend oil locks Christmas morning? That's right, baby. Okay. So she is getting one of these soon, too, at the end of the video. So here's the big lie from the Vatican. Just one of the big lies, and then I might have to stop talking about the Vatican. Not that I couldn't talk about the Vatican for 1,000 years, because they have 1,000 years of wars. Okay, so you believe that the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx are more than 12,000 years old. Vatican says you're apostate to the church, and they give you $1,000, $50,000, $100,000. You know, you give us $50,000, we'll forgive your sins and say 10 Hail Marys and an Our Father, because they don't want to take too much time away from your ability to earn money. They don't give a shit about you at all. They just want you to go out there and earn some money and give it to the church. That's their goal. So now another lie from the church is the church says that there can't be dinosaur bones. There can't be dinosaur bones. Not possible. Because the church says the world is only 6,000 years old. So the dinosaur bones are 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, million, 2 million, 60 million, whatever it is. None of that could be really proven. I don't want to hear about carbon dating, but these things are old. They're in tar pits, totally preserved, some of these mammals and bones that are known to be 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 years old, the tar pits, okay? This is real. So, but the church says the bones can't be real, and then cache of dinosaur bones in the world, besides Egypt and other places like that, but in the Western world. And what did the Catholic before? Why? Because they don't want you to believe that there were dinosaurs, because that goes against the 6,600-year-old history of the church. See, they lie to you about everything, but they want your money under the guise that they're going to do something wonderful with it. The only thing they're going to do with your money is build another church so that they could collect more money. So digressing back. So now the bones that were proven to be millions of years old or hundreds of thousands of years old, these bones exist, and they find new ones every day. In fact, the Catholic Church goes on the expeditions. They fund the expeditions for the archaeologists to find the bones, and then they take the bones away, and they're never seen again. And what happens to the archaeologist? He becomes very wealthy, writes a book, takes some pictures of these bones, but the bones don't exist anymore. Why? Because it's a sanctimonious hypocrite union with anything but God. If Satan existed in real life, which he probably does, and he's been depicted in many different ways, then the Catholic Church and Satan or the Illuminati or the worship of satanic entities exists via the Catholic Church. Now, if you don't believe me, I don't know what I could tell you. I could go on with these stories forever. I could go on with all the pedophilia that existed since the beginning of history. What do they do with the pedophiles when they're definitely out, without any doubt, found out to be a pedophile? What do they do with the pedophiles? What do they do with them? They take the pedophiles, they take them, and they separate them right away. They take them from the community where the priests commit pedophilia. They take them and they bring them back to the Vatican, and then they have a talk with them, and then from there, do they excommunicate the priests? No, because they're all into this pedophilia shit. What normal human being in his early 20s or 30s would become a priest and give up sex? Give me a fucking break, would you please? What kind of a normal person gives up sex when they're 20 years old? Okay? Nobody that's normal. Abnormal, yeah, but not normal. Normal people don't become priests and say, from this day forward, I'm never going to have sex again, and I'm not going to masturbate, because that goes against the laws of God. So, come on, these people are normal. They're a bunch of sycophants. So anyway, the Catholic Church catches a priest or 100 priests all over the place. And they gather them together, have a meeting. They say, look, you can't do this anymore in Chicago, or you can't do this anymore in New York. So what we're going to do is, you've been a very bad priest. Smack them on the top of the hand just once. They get the idea. And then now we're sending you to places like Guatemala and Somalia and Africa where they like that kind of stuff. Or at least no one is ever going to hear a newspaper article in Somalia that you raped a Somalian boy, because they probably cook you. Please don't do that anymore. And where they send them, there's no newspapers, there's no internet, there's no telephone. And the priest disappears into the jungle, slapping the meat to boys and girls for the rest of his life, and having money sent to him or collecting money, whatever. The Catholic Church, they're hypocrites. So now that I've given my more, now this goes also under the heading of Things I Know by Michael Fazio. That's right. Things I Know by Michael Fazio and Rabbi Jew Barker in the Philippines, baby. Welcome to my humble abode. And let's go to the videotape. Daisy? You let me know when you think that you want to say something, okay, Daisy? All right. So I have a lot of people that wishing me Merry. I'm going to just say Merry Christmas to everybody. Sasha, One Lonely Man in America. Boy, that Samuel, you're wearing your heart on your sleeve, buddy. I hope Pamela Kerr appreciates your new name. Merry Christmas to you too, Samuel. Okay, Samuel, I'll check out your new videos when I get a moment. Thank you. Juan Alvalos, Merry Christmas. Thumbs up, Merry Christmas. Okay, from Juan Alvaro, Sasha. The church, Sasha says the church is a business. Yes, it is. Psycho, message retracted. The Vatican should be helping the Philippines. That's right. The Vatican is doing nothing for the children of. I did more for the children of the Philippines yesterday afternoon at 3:30 to 6 o'clock in Alona Beach. I gave away more stuff than the church that collects millions of pesos every week. Not once have I've gone to church in the Philippines on Easter. I've gone to church what they call St. Augustine Day, and I've gone to church on Christmas. Okay. The only thing that goes on in front of the church that is nothing but little stands. They'll sell not cotton candy. They'll sell junk. It's all junk food. Everything is fried or soda. There's no real food. If they're selling you sausages, it's pre-manufactured sausages with macahillo or with many chemicals in it. Nothing that they sell in front of the church is healthy for you. No, potato chips, popcorn, pretzels, ices, which are just basically sugar. Nothing. And those people have to pay tens of thousands, or maybe even 50,000 pesos to be in front of the church during the Christmas week. Maybe more. Just for one day, 50,000 pesos. They have to pay tens of thousands, 20,000, 30. No one would ever give me an answer when I asked, how much does it cost you to be here? Can I put a stick? Oh, no. It's a locked in thing. It's locked in. It's like it's like a union. You can only be in front of the church if you're a member. Somebody's a member of your family. And then they have truckloads of shit. They have a stand that's 8 feet long with 5 people working the stand. And then they have 2 guys, one on each side, frying up chicken gizzards, or whatever the hell they're frying up. Not French fries, but the chicken innards. And then they have a guy that he's got 3 stands. He just walks back and forth to the truck and brings the stands more stuff, oil, chicken gizzards. It's all frozen shit too. It's nothing that's new or healthy. Sodas, ice, the huge truck. It's a support. He's got a whole support system, and they're doing from one little fryer. That the fryer is 18 inches in diameter. They're doing 100 pesos a minute from a fryer. One guy's throwing them in and tossing them, and the other guy's pulling them out and putting. They're doing 100 pesos a minute when they get busy. They're 20, 30 people deep all around the front to buy this garbage for 10 pesos for 3 chicken lizard gizzards or whatever they are about the length of your finger. 3 of them, 10 pesos. Fried garbage in garbage oil in front of the church. This is what, so there's no, but nothing is being given away to anybody. There is no way on earth a poor person can walk up to one of those stands and ask those people for one stick, 110 peso. No, they have to beg the money and then they'll go buy that garbage. But the Catholic Church doesn't give anything out to the people in the Philippines. So therefore, because of Jeff Stieglitz and Pamela Carr and one other person who donated the money for these balls. Honey, can I have a ball that works? See this ball, these balls here? This one's been glowing for 3 days now. I think it has something to do with the Wi-Fi. This is the one with the X on. Two blue. In case Mr. Obama wants to make a guest appearance. Okay, so these balls here, they glow, right? So I gave these out. You had to see last night. If you go see my new video, one of my new videos, every child in the neighborhood. We had 74 good balls. How many do we have left? Any? 84. We have 84. We have a couple of balls left, 4 or 5 balls left. So we gave out about 80 balls, and then some of those little helicopter things and some big balls. Okay, and that's all the children there were. Everybody got a ball. Some people got a bigger gift, and then it was a one. But through my super chat providers, I spent about $105 through those 3 people, and I bought the children Christmas presents. So it didn't cost me anything except 8 hours to go to the city, pick up the balls on 3 different occasions because I just carried them back on the jeepney, and then you have to go into the store and then bring back the ones that didn't work. Say 3 hours, 4 hours to do that. It took us 2.5 hours to give them out, and it took us 2 hours to set the bags up yesterday. So it took me 8 hours of my life. Believe me, I'll never do it again. But next year, I'll have them come down to the house because we knocked on every door to make sure we got every kid out on the street so they wouldn't be coming today. We already had people at 7 o'clock this morning saying, she didn't get a ball. Okay, come back late. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. And we would, Daisy and I were just saying good morning to each other. So, but anyway, the Vatican does nothing for the people in the Philippines. So let me move through these comments again. Okay. So let's see. I only see 20. I see 24 people up on the screen. I see the same people commenting. Michael Fazio, take your sir. I have tons of time. Okay, so I guess that's in reference to this, yeah? Okay, so I'm going to just zip through this. Okay, so nobody has anything, nobody has any personal stories to add about the Vatican, huh? That's a shame. Thank you, Samuel. I look like a young man. Thank you very much. The Pope urging people not to be greedy at Christmas time. Well, the Pope is urging the priests that have committed pedophilia. Now, this is a sickness that goes on inside these people's mind. The Pope came out in an article. I guess I should post, but when I get to the bottom, I'll post the articles. The Pope came out begging and urging the priests that commit pedophilia to turn themselves in. To who? To the church. Because and why doesn't anybody ever get arrested in the church? Even though they commit acts of pedophilia? Okay, when they bring the child molesters, child rapists, pedophiles back to the church, which is basically very similar to being a foreign diplomat. So they bring them back to the Vatican, and the rules in the Vatican are different than the rules outside the Vatican. The rules in Rome, where the Vatican is, they're different rules. Pedophilia is fucking A-okay, man. pedophilia, according to the Vatican, it's only the outside people that think pedophilia is bad. The church, the Pope has nothing to say bad about this. No one ever goes to jail for pedophilia in the Vatican. They might make an exception occasionally for one guy that said, "Whoa, what are you doing here? You got 1,000 kids raped. You know, just keep it under 100, please." And they might make an example out of that guy. But the church has a different set of rules. That's why nobody goes to jail in Washington. Nobody, and for the politicians, they have a different set of rules. The bankers don't go to jail in London. They have a different set of rules. And the priests don't go to jail when they're controlled by the Vatican, because the Vatican and London and Washington are three sovereign states, sovereign nations within a nation. And they all have their own set of rules. None of them have to do with American law or English law or Italian law. None of it has to do with reality. It's a whole different set of rules that they don't publish and you can't find out. They just say, the Vatican, we're gonna take care of this our own way, and they might put you in a Vatican jail. How do you know the guy's in a Vatican jail? He's in the Vatican in a jail. You can't. There's no movies. You can't go down there with a camera. It's a bunch of shit. The Vatican, the Illuminati that control the Vatican, the pedophile priests, the pedophile bishops, the pedophile pope, all of that shit is above the law, and no one. And I see this shit happening in the Philippines. I have grown men yesterday asking me for money. I'm giving the children balls, right? And all of these kids there, I got them lined up. Like, I think there were 34 days you counted in one of the videos that most people will never see. But I got like 34 in one group, and there's 10 in another, and there's 10 in another, and there's 12 in another. It goes on. As we went down the block, there were other children that didn't receive a ball. We went up the block, there were other children. So we had a big grouping, and then more people came to the big grouping, and then more people came to the big grouping. Then we went and banged on doors that no one had answered prior, because we were there 2.5 hours. We were doing this. So I have grown men asking me for a ball. That they're so poor, and I'm telling them, I can't give you a ball. I can't give. If I started giving all the adults, and every grown man, this is how poor this community is. Every grown man is just like this. Just give me one. Just give me one. Just one for me. And they have this face. So there's 15 of you. Just one. They don't even fucking hear you. Just give me one. Just give. Just one for me. And all these grown men these are grown men asking me for a ball. Why? And every one of them has alcohol on their breath or is about ready to start drinking. They all have bottles. Every day I walk down the block, they all have a bottle around them. Am I telling the truth, Daisy? Daisy? Am I telling? Come here, please, for a minute, please. Am I telling the truth that when we walk down the block, come on over here. Am I telling the truth that when we walk down the block, do the men ask me for money? First question.
Yeah, that's the truth.
And are they all drinking alcohol and smoking cigarettes?
Yeah, they are.
So I have grown men, 50, 60, 40, 30 years old, grown men standing out in the middle of the street going, give me money. Not please, not please give me just one ball, yeah?
Yeah.
And then that guy who's one of the guys, I'm not gonna talk. There was X's and H's and big circles for balls, cars, or helicopters, right? Little helicopters. And one guy took, now there were only a few helicopters, 2. Okay, I had given a couple out last week to my friend's kids. So, and I haven't been back to the city because of my foot. So I haven't been back. I would have probably bought some more helicopters. They were pretty cool, but I didn't. So there were two H's with a circle around it. So 2 kids got a helicopter. And this guy comes over with a helicopter, with a piece of paper. I didn't take the paper. What a raffle. You're supposed to take the specially marked papers. Now I made the H on the 2 pieces of paper. It had 100 pieces of paper, 100 products, 2 helicopters, 2 balls, and then 12 cars. Eight cars, excuse me. I made the H. So I already gave out the 2 helicopters. And the guy comes up to me, helicopter, like that. And I'm going, where did you get this from? He understood English. Where did you get this from? And he's like, I went, where did you get this from? Which child? Where? Helicopter. Like he doesn't understand. He's lying. He's deceiving. I says, you're cheating. And he went, and he crawled back away. He understood cheating. Okay. This man is 50-something years old. Not a child. He's cheating. I had people giving the X. The X's were the ones for the car. I had people giving the children. Adults were taking the X from the children's hand and handing it to another. They got their little car, and then they were giving the X. They were taking the X from the child with the car because I didn't take the X. I was doing like 100 things and paying attention to this, paying attention to that. And now they're giving the X to somebody else. There's only just so many cars. This isn't Kmart. You know, there's not an endless supply of this shit. I bought 100 toys. That's what I did. We serviced 84 children, 85 children. That's what it was. I've been telling you since day one, there's 85 children on my block, and there's 85 children on my block. So maybe a couple of them went away for the holiday. But either way, the Catholic Church gave nothing to these people. I tell them off camera, go to the church, get money from the church. And they put their head down. I mean, these are the people that have been donating to the church since they were born. Go get money from the church. No. Give me money, they tell me. Because now I gave the children a little present for Christmas. Now all of a sudden, and nobody else on the block. There are people that live in $60 million peso houses, 100 million peso houses, and this is a poor block. And there are people that own hotels, and there are people that own businesses. They give nothing to the children. So even yesterday, this is what the Filipinos give back to themselves. I walked down the block. The guy in my other video that I told you brought his 2 children. He brought me his sister that was autistic, and then he brings 2 children. Make sure you give these. This is my son and this is my niece, or this is my daughter and this is my nephew, whatever. Make sure they get a ball for Christmas. Make sure they. Thank you for that. So I go to their store. They have a store. And he's there. And I'm giving the children at the store, this was another group, their balls. Because there are no more the other secondary toys. There's nothing left. So he's going, now this guy owns a store, brand new motorcycle, brand new pressure washer. They do pressure washing. They owns all this shit. They just put an extension on their house and built the store. No permits. And they did all of this work. They did a couple of 100,000 pesos worth of work. And he's asking me for balls for his kid because he didn't buy his kid anything, apparently. And so and then he comes up to me after I give all the children a ball. We still had some balls left. We had other places to go. And he goes, give me the same. Even they're rich. Give me 1 ball. Just give 1 ball to me. I said, no adults, just one. Just one. Where the fuck do they learn this shit from? Do they teach just what I just said? Just give me 1 ball. And they twist their head. Every fucking one of them do the same thing. Every one of them. Just give me 1. So if I just gave 1 ball to everybody that asked me for just 1 ball, just give me, and they crunch their shoulders. It's like it's like the school of scam here. I gave no adults a ball, not one. So one of the guys is a jeepney driver. This is the richest guy in the neighborhood, working class of the rich and guy. I've been riding this fucking guy's jeepney, and I told him this yesterday in front of 15 men. Thank you for the super chat. I'll get with that in a minute. 15 fucking men standing around just say, give me 1 ball. And he walks up to me. They're all hovering around me too. They're not like 2 or 3 feet away. They're like right next to me. As I'm handing the ball to the children, I could see them in the side. Give me one ball. You might even see this in the camera if I put these videos public. And I said to the guy, wait a second, you own the jeepney, right? This guy collects however much money. His brother's the richest man in the neighborhood, and him, the two of them, they're 2 brothers. However, I've been paying you how much I pay you for the jeepney. Every day I give you 20 or 25 pesos that I go to the city for 5 years, and 5 pieces of candy every time I got in the jeepney for the first 3 years. 5 pieces of candy every time I went to the jeepney 2 or 3 times a week, and 25 pesos. And I say that to him. Did you ever give me one free ride, one libre ride? And he put his fucking head down in shame and walked away. And everybody laughed at him. Nobody gives anybody anything here at all. The Filipinos don't give it to each other. The store owners that are expanding their houses and their stores and buying pressure washers to do side businesses and buying the property next door to them, they give nothing back to the children, nothing. The children stand in front of the store and wait for a foreigner to buy something and ask the foreigner for pesos, and then the pesos go back to the store owner. Or you're buying something in the store and the lady says, give the pesos to the children, your change, whatever it is, give the pesos to the, I've heard, I said, why should I give the pesos to the children? They're just going to give it back to you. Yeah, but the children want candy. Just give. And then, again with the fucking shoulders, just give the, so if you have 20 pesos or 30 pesos, which isn't much, but they do, if the children can't get the money out of you, the owners of the stores here, but the owners will give the children nothing. The children will ask you for pesos for free, and the owner will tell you to give the pesos to the children, and I turn around and say, you give the children free candy. Give, you give it now. Give libre candy for the children. And they back down because they have to be backed down. They need to be backed down. While I'm giving this stuff out, I'm watching people exchange fucking with X's and helicopter things. The guy would, and he's on camera. I nailed this bad boy on camera too. I said, "You're cheating," and he puts his head down and walks away. Yeah, but so my point is, the children in the Philippines are given nothing from their families. The adults basically are all alcoholics and or other substance abusers. The church gives those people nothing, and yet they give money to the church. That's my point. What?
Oh, yeah.
That's true. Thank you. Oh, honey, I don't want to keep it. I'm afraid I'll spill it. Fresh mango?
Papaya.
Fresh papaya. I don't know the difference between papaya and, I've been in the Philippines for 5 years, and I still don't know the difference between papaya and mango. It's orange. All right, thank you. In case anybody thought I was... One of these, baby. That's what she's getting. One of these. All right, so let me go down to the videotape here. The Catholic Church. They're a bunch of sanctimonious hypocrites. Oh, and they gave my two friends. They let the priests molest my two friends. The priests never got thrown out of the church. Never. They stayed in the church and they hushed it up. But let me go down. Oh, Jim Disbrow is here. Jim Disbrow, thank you. The papaya looks like a droopy tit. Mango looks like a firm one. Now you know. Salamat. Jim Disbrow. Wonderful super chat. Daisy, please come here. And we have to do the Christmas song for Jim Disbrow. Salamat, Jim. Okay.
Thank you, Jim Desbrow. And we will sing. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much, Jim Disbrow. We got that right. Yeah, baby. Salamat. One more. We have another gentleman here, up here. Philippine Scenes. Hello, Philippine Scene. Have a wonderful day and tell Daisy May hello. The Philippines Scenes. Salamat. Thank you. And you tell her.
Thank you. Hello to
Philippine Scenes.
Philippine Scenes. Hi.
Wishes you have a wonderful day and tell Daisy May hello. So Daisy May, Philippine Scenes says, have a wonderful day and to wish you hello. Say hello.
Yeah, said hello.
Okay, so ready?
1, 2, 3.
Thank you, thank you, thank you very much, Philippine Scenes. Salamat. Say it in your language. Say it in your language. Say something in your language.
Salamat kayo sa grasya.
What does it mean?
Thank you very much for the blessing.
Your blessings. Also to Jim Disbrow. Thank you.
Thank you too.
So now I'm gonna read the thank you. So this is. So I told you one of these, right? You've been watching one of these, right? You've been watching it happen in real life. Gonna happen soon. Has to happen soon because it has to happen before the live stream ends. Say this.
Yeah, I'm done packing.
What, honey?
I'm done packing too.
When she gets one of these, she's gonna go pack. That's where she's going. She's gonna pack. That's what she's getting for Christmas. One of these. That's what it is, baby. Not everybody was a sissy growing up, you know. So let's go back up to the videotape. Thank you, Jim. Salamat. Philippine Scene, thank you very much. Merry Christmas to the both of you. This is a Christmas-friendly channel, too, by the way. You have something you want to say? Okay, so let's say it. Pads. Okay, so Pads, One Lonely Christmas. Where's Bosco? Okay, Pads. Okay, I read that stuff. Wow. Many comments. Many comments. Where's Bosco? In all fairness, the Catholic Church, not only the ones. No. Excuse me. Where's Bosco? The Catholic Church is not only the hypocrite, sanctimonious hypocrite, but 95% of the people in the Philippines are Catholic. So what else is there? I mean, you have a good point. Where's Bosco? But they're all criminals. You don't hear about the number twos in their church. God, no. They're probably 10 times worse. But then again, the number twos control the media, so you're never going to hear about that. Okay, so where's Bosco? I'm tough on the Pope, just don't like men in bathrobes. Women, yes. Men, no. LOL. That's right, baby. Pad says they don't need support. They're sitting on billions of dollars in treasure. This is true. Why would anybody in their right mind? You know, I went into church to do a christening, okay? And I was the first time I was in church. I've been here 5 years. I went into church once to do a video in 2014, maybe. I think it was St. Augustine Day. Could have been Easter. It wasn't Christmas though. And it's like such a weird feeling going into those concrete buildings. The energy, I think the energy from the people is just like very vibrational, and I don't like the energy, so I don't go in. And then but when I did the christening, I stopped to say hello to the priest, and he said hello and walked away from me. Now maybe he knew who I was. I doubt it. but maybe he just didn't give a flying shit. I wasn't part of his congregation. I'm not giving him money. I'm not standing there walking up to him with an envelope in my hand. He didn't give a shit about me. I told him I'm going to be doing the video. I gave him the respect of telling him I'm going to do the video, and he shook my hand and said, yeah, and just walked away. Didn't even say goodbye. Okay. Where's Bosco? Any religion that allows child molestation inside is evil. Well, we went over that. So I'm going to try to. So now we have 24 people, 9 thumbs up, typical. People are, you're afraid to push the thumbs up button because, why? Because somebody will see one of my videos on your channel and they'll think you're crazy. Let me explain something to you. Everything I told you is the truth. Everything I ever tell you is the truth. Nobody could create a story saying that I'm a liar about anything that I said. That includes the dinosaur bones. That includes the bullshit story you get from the church saying that God created the dinosaur bones. The church says this bullshit, okay? God created the dinosaur bones after he created the world to tempt you to believe that the world is older than 6,000 years old, when in reality, according to the Bible, the bullshit in the Bible, the world is only 6,000 years old. So if you believe that the dinosaur bones are older than 6,000 years old, then you are going to hell. But you can be saved if you give us money through redemption. We'll put one of our pedophiles in a box, and we'll let you talk to one of the pedophiles and beg for forgiveness, and the pedophile will let you know how many Hail Marys and how many All Fathers you need to do and what donation should be given to the church. Suggested donation, of course. And then you can make that donation in person after Mass, and that will be registered. And then depending on how much you donated is depending on how hard they'll talk to God for you to forgive your sin. It's a bullshit story. All right, so where's Bosco? There's no redemption for any pedophiles, and that's right, no redemption whatsoever. I say give them fucking hemp. Give them lots of hemp. Okay? All right. Rudy Gallus, it's still Christmas Eve yet. Yeah, well, I don't have much to do. We started up the machine. We oiled all the locks on the machine. I'm a good partner. This morning I woke up early. I said to Daisy, let's go out and oil the locks on the machine, and let's start the machine up and check the oils and stuff like that. Make sure there's no leaks. Daisy went out, got under the machine. Christmas morning, I let my girl do maintenance on a piece of heavy equipment. Who's better than me? I ask you, seriously, who's better than me? Okay? Don't make any mistake about it. I let Daisy work on the machine this morning because it's Christmas, and I want her to understand one day when I'm long gone, dead and buried, I want her to understand that not everybody, I'm giving her one of these too. You see this? That's right, baby. From the old days. That's what Daisy's getting for Christmas. One of these. Don't make any mistake about it. So, all right. So Rudy Gals, Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas, Rudy. Samuel. No wonder they stink. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas 2.0 is in the house. See, now Merry Christmas showed up for Merry Christmas. The Catholic Pedophile Church created the Trinity and Islam, and the Catholic Church is not Christian. That's why they call Catholics, because their religion is Catholicism. Islam, like Islam. All right. Well, I know that they have strong bonds to the Muslim religion somehow, that they're bringing this up now. So if you could expand on that by posting a link to something, Merry Christmas 2.0, that'd be great. But I don't know a lot about that part of what you're saying. I could read about it. but I don't need. I despise reading anything about Catholic Church. I was brought up Catholic, and if there was ever any one thing in my life that I would never be is a Catholic. Okay, there's my uncle Scum. My uncle Scum. We had that conversation. We're gonna do what I realized is I couldn't. In the hour and a half I purely devoted to Uncle Scum the other day, I realized it brought back so many memories of how he fucked so many people. I'm going to have to do an Uncle Scum part 2, 3, and 4, possibly 5. Just devote the first hour of the live stream to Uncle Scum and who he screwed and how. And then I think I will move across the street to my Uncle E. His name begins with. I'll go to Uncle Scummy or E Scum if he has a website, E Scum, and I'll out that son of a bitch because he's still alive too. Far be it from me to let anything go. Now remember, Uncle Scum fucked me 41 years ago. So in a few more years, this is going to be like water under the bridge, because that's the kind of guy I am. I just let shit go. I don't hold grudges. So 41 years, couple more years, I'll probably not mention it more than 2 or 3 times a month. That scumbag. I hope he fucking watches my video. And I hope the son of a bitch has a fucking flutter. Whereas Bosco, they're grooming. Catholic Church loves grooming. Yeah, they do that too. Okay, where's Bosco? Huge pedophile going on in Jehovah's Witnesses cult. 2 witnesses rule. 2 witness rule cover-ups. Yeah, I heard about that. If 2 witnesses say it's true, it's true. If they say it's not true, I don't know. I can't even. As soon as people tell me they were Jehovah's Witness, I say, have a nice day, gotta go. There's a guy in Tagbilaran. His name is Yuri. Urigan. Urigan. Oh, God, this guy keeps trying to get me to believe this happy horse shit about the Jehovah's Witness. I mean, he doesn't stop. I talked to him for 5 years. Pleasant guy, nice guy, well groomed. Always they have a nice clothes, no tie, but a nice collared shirt. Wonderful guy. Guy's fucking lost it up here, boy. I'll tell you. 5 years he's trying to get me to read this Jehovah's Witness crap when he gives me. I use it for scrap paper. I give it to the neighbors to start fires with. I told him I'm not going to use this. I'm going to give it to the neighbor to burn. He goes, here, please take it. He gives me the paper anyway. All right, so I got to go down this list. Complete. Anthony is here. Merry Christmas, Anthony. Okay, completely disinterested. Merry Christmas, Anthony. To completely disinterested. YouTube says, Merry Christmas, YouTube. YouTube says that the church's greatest achievements are molestation of children, concealing their Satanism, and hoarding property, gems, gold, currency, and tricking the naive. That's right. And talking about tricking, Daisy thinks I was kidding when I told her she's getting one of these, right? So for you guys that I've been saying this stuff to for a week or 2 weeks, that she's getting one of these, this is her present. What is this? One of my old boxing fists. I was never a boxer though, but I bought one because I thought one day I'd want to learn how to do boxing, but I used to get beat up a lot, so I stuck with wrestling and judo. But she's getting one of these for Christmas, baby. That's right. So all right, so I'm going to go down to the end. Rudy Gal, super chat whisper. Yes, Rudy. Rudy Gallus, hello. 21 people. Okay, thank you for pointing that out. I love chicken lizards. Okay. I bet Pamela Carr is out there viewing. I bet Pamela Carr is pining right now because she can't get onto YouTube. And what she's doing right now, Samuel, she's writing you a letter begging you to marry her. And in the form of an apology, Pamela Carr, I think she went to the a new car dealer, the Chevrolet dealer. I think she's looking at Corvettes, and the only reason why she's looking at Corvettes is because this is her way of saying she's sorry she's not here on Christmas Eve. Either that, or she's studying for a test, or with her family. Remember yesterday she was with her grandmother. But she could be looking for a Corvette for Samuel, baby. One lonely man in the U.S. Samuel is getting a Corvette from Christmas. I feel it. I feel it right here in my heart. Princess Anne Nude, Merry Christmas. Daisy's outside. Look, one lonely man in the U.S. Look, I'm like the 8-ball love. Yes or no? Yes, no, or maybe. Yeah, the 8-ball, the magic 8-ball, Samuel. That's what you're talking about. Does she love me? Yes, no, or maybe. That's the magic 8-ball. I haven't seen one of those in a long time. All right. I'm going through the comments. YouTube. Okay. The church's greatest achievements are molestation of children, concealing their Satanism, and hoarding property, gems, gold, currency, and tricking the naive. That's true, baby. Merry Christmas. Okay, so why am I up here? Why is this? Why did I get back up here? I read that comment. Merry Christmas says, I'll read that. It's a good comment. Now I've disappeared. Okay, damn. Merry Christmas said, Merry Christmas, excuse me, Merry Christmas 2.0 said, the Catholic pedophile church created the Trinity and Islam. And the Catholic Church is not Christian, and that's why they call Catholics Catholics. The church is not Christian. That's why they are called Catholics, because their religion is Catholicism. That's much more in-depth than I ever got into the wording. They're all a bunch of sanctimonious, satanic, Illuminati, scumbag hypocrites. Let's just call them that and leave it at that. Okay, so here, let's put this. I have to do something. Hold on a minute. I have to make Daisy's Christmas present. No, she's not in here. I'll wrap it right around Santa's head. Okay, there it is. Say it. I told you I was going to get one of these. I don't lie about nothing, buddy. Okay, so I guess hold on a minute. I got to situate this stuff over here. When she comes back in, we'll wish her a Merry Christmas. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna put this. So if anybody has anything they want to add to the Catholic Church's story about pedophilia, child molestation, a personal story of, you can use a third party if it happened to you, because I know people that were molested by priests and nothing happened to the priests. That's right. Where's Bosco? Do you know how the priests and the Pope and the bishops live? Of course, they live like kings. They don't live like regular people. They literally live like kings in castles. That's a true story. They want for nothing. They want food, they order food. They want steak, they order steak. They want seafood, they order seafood. Any foods they want, as much as they want. One priest in my church where I grew up, he was accused of stealing $250,000 in 1970s monies and gambling it at the racetrack, Aqueduct Racetrack. That was what he is accused of. That's right. He stole probably $1 million. He got caught, admitted to 250. Nothing happened to him. Nothing. He stayed. He remained a priest. He remained in charge of collecting the money. These are a bunch of sick bastards. Don't make any mistake about it. YouTube says, thank you about my I did a dissertation on family scum, more specifically my uncle's scum. And YouTube, and I've it's 41 years ago. I've never said a kind word to any human being about my Uncle Scum. And everybody praises this man like he's fucking God's gift to the world. He's a low-life, thieving, lying, sanctimonious, hypocrite, scumbag, cocksucker. Well, it doesn't suck cock, but I mean, that's the lowest thing I could say about him with, on Christmas Day, because I have to maintain a certain level of congeniality, because that's the kind of guy I am. He's a low-life, sanctimonious, hypocrite scumbag. That's fine. The richest member of the family, the cheapest member of the family. He doesn't give shit to anybody. In fact, he stole some of my antiques, and I'll have to talk about that in another dissertation. So YouTube says I'm going to do 4 or 5 more parts. It's going to be Uncle Scum Part 2, Uncle Scum Part 3, Uncle Scum Part 4. I think I could get 4 more hours out of it before it gets redundant, and I could probably do Uncle Scum 5 if I add the other people in the neighborhood that he fucked. I'm just doing 5 hours of Uncle Scum fucking me. Constant speech like I'm talking now. Uncle Scum 1, 2, 3, 4, and probably 5 if I just expanded to the people on the block that he fucked, on his block. And me, which I used to live on his block. So YouTube says, thank you. Thank you, Michael, for your dissertation on family betrayals. 5 years plus of separation for myself, meaning YouTube, and my unit with 0 contact with scum. It's no contact with the family. Not easy, but it has been easier than contact. No, dude, you can't have anything to do with these fucking people. Once they fuck you and you go back to them, they think it's good to fuck you. They think that's what they were put on earth to do, was to fuck you, because maybe you have something else that they need. You never fucking give in. You never relent, and you never forgive. When a friend or a family member intentionally sets you up to fuck you, let them fucking die. Watch them, let them do whatever the fuck they got to do to survive. Don't give them money. Don't feed them. Don't feel sorry for them. Don't fucking help them in any way. When somebody is your friend and they set you up to fuck you, a family member and they set you up to fuck you, or somebody you trust and they set you up to fuck you, don't ever fucking relinquish your fucking control on the situation by going back and letting them say they're fucking sorry, because they're not sorry. I don't give a fuck what they do. They're never going to make it up to you in monetary methods. They just fucked you, and now they want to say they're sorry. Like Joey Sanfilippo out, who fucking beat up Rosemary on his honeymoon. Joey collected like $12,000 in cash money in 1975. All right, well, a lot of money, man, a lot of money. Took his wife on, and that was their wedding gifts. Set their whole apartment up, couches and refrigerators. And people were giving the very comfort. People were giving them. They just, all they had to do was move into the fucking apartment. They had silverware, they had dishes, couches, rugs, tablecloths, bed linen, TVs, everything were all there. And he goes on vacation and he fucking knocks his fucking wife of 2 days or 3 days or 1 day out, leaves her in the movie theater unconscious. She has to go to the hospital in an ambulance, and then goes to the hotel, cleans out the fucking hotel, and goes back to New York so they can't arrest him. She can't even prove he did it. There was no cameras back then. This is the kind of scumbag. And then he said he was fucking sorry, and they got back together. And he did it again. Fucking Joey Sanfilippo. Piece of shit. And well, she was just weak. She had nowhere to go. She couldn't afford the apartment. All the stuff was paid for, but Joey had the fucking money. He took the fucking money. Another fucking wonderful church-going family, the San Filipouts. Never fucking go back. Never let somebody apologize to you that fucked you. Just tell them to fucking eat shit and die. Warren H is here. Do I see Warren H? I do. Where's Bosco? I think I just saw Warren H. Hi, all. Warren. And what? No Christmas party would be complete without Warren H. Thank you for coming, Warren. Hope you're enjoying your Christmas. For you, Warren, Mr. Obama has wanted to sing Jingle Bells to Warren. Oh, Jingle Bells. What happened? Sing Jingle Bells. I'd rather not. What would you like to sing? How about one chorus of Jingle Balls? Jingle Balls? Jingle Balls. Warren, this is Jingle Balls from Obama to you. All right, ready, Mr. Obama? Jingle balls, jingle balls away. Oh, what fun it is to see Warren H today. Hey, jingle balls, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to see Warren H today. Riding on my chin are the blue balls of Michael Fazio's and Daisy May in the Philippines. Oh, I feel so good. I am here today. Warren H is with me now. Ah, blue balls on my chin. Ha ha, ho ho, hi ha, hee ha. From the Funny Farm, where life is beautiful all the time. That's right. Warren H. Merry Christmas from Mr. Obama. Come on over here, say hello to Warren H. Paliho.
Oh. Wait.
Well, now?
Yeah.
Warren H. Welcome, Warren H. And we are getting down to the bottom here. We are at the bottom, I think. Yeah, where's my Jehovah's Witnesses cultists? Doomsday and Armageddon. Now, Daisy. Warren H., I feel the same way about a nephew as you feel about Uncle Scum. Did you see Santa Claus out there?
Oh.
You.